Well, a hearty good evening to everybody. Welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. It's great to have everybody here. Today is Tuesday, June 18th, and this is the City of Sioux Falls. This is our City Council, and let's start our meeting by introducing you to the members of our City Council.
Council members Anderson.
Here.
Entenmann.
Here.
Erpenbach. Here. Jamison.
Here.
Karski.
Here.
Rolfing. Staggers.
Present.
Aguilar. Here.
Very good. We start every meeting of the City Council with an invocation, a prayer. And we're certainly blessed tonight to have campus pastor Monty Gannon. He's off on a new journey in life, loving it, and he's making a difference at Celebrate Community Church. So, if you wouldn't mind, stand for Pastor Monty, and he'll give us our blessing, and then we'll continue with our Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Gannon, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a privilege to be here. Let us pray. Father, it is a privilege to be here. I just want to thank you. We come to you tonight with gratitude, first of all, for all you've given us. We are truly blessed. It is a beautiful day today. We thank you so much for that. I thank you for all the men and women here tonight. I ask you to bless them, bless their families. I pray for all the business owners here, for the city council members, for Mayor Huther. Father, tonight I just ask that you give them guidance and wisdom and discernment in all the decisions they make. Sioux Falls is an awesome community, and we are just a privilege to be here. I love this town, and you blessed us with it, and I thank you for that. So as they go through their night, Father, just give them wisdom. Let all their decisions that they make be based on your will and your word, and we thank you for being here with us. We love you so much, and pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, Council, let's continue on with our meeting with the consent agenda. Any motions or changes to our agenda?
Move approval, Aguilar.
Second, Entenmann.
Councilor Aguilar has made a motion to approve our consent agenda, seconded by Councilor Entenmann. If there is no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson.
Yes.
Entenmann.
Yes.
Erpenbach. Yes. Jamison.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
That has passed 7-0. Now move on to our regular agenda. Council, any motions or changes?
Move to approve.
Councilor Entenmann has made a motion to approve. It was seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. If there is no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson.
Yes.
Entenmann. Erpenbach. Yes. Jamison.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
That has passed 7-0. Again, welcome everybody, and nice to have you here. Really good crowd. We appreciate people that are engaged in their city. If anyone right now would like to come up to speak to the council, it's a great time to do it. All we'd ask you to do is to limit your conversation to 5 minutes or less, and then just introduce yourself to the people of our town. If there's a topic later on in the meeting that you want to discuss, we'd ask you to hold your topic or your conversation till that point in time. If it is a resolution or a second reading. If it's other than that, come on up now and let's hear what you have to say. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. My name is Emmett Reichstroffer, born and raised in Sioux Falls. May I put something up on the screen real quick?
Absolutely.
Just to show you while I speak.
Is it? We're not supposed to have anything on that computer.
Lori, did you have some comments?
Well, I just wanted to mention that we have a public computer that your items should have been on the other computer, but that's fine for now.
Well, I guess it's not going to let us go to this beautiful website I wanted to show off. So I wanted to speak about two different topics today, and I will limit it to just under 5 minutes. The first one was our Cliff Avenue beautification project that recently started just a few weeks ago. I'm in the process of forming a nonprofit organization and hoping to earn your years, clean that rock wall. I think the quartzite rocks are a precious thing to have in our community. It is abundant around here, but it's still precious nonetheless. We want to clean those rocks. We have a beautiful website, cliffavenue.org, and the ball's really starting to roll a lot faster than I thought it would. Other than that, I wanted to talk briefly about agenda items 32 and 33. I have been fairly vocal in my circle of people. I've started a Facebook page called Stop Walmart Sioux Falls, and I am urging all of you to please stand up for the small businesses of Sioux Falls. Stand up for our culture and our integrity. I'm not going to list the number of grievances that I could against Walmart. I think it is well known that the world's largest retailer has a number of complaints violating human rights, the Clean Water Act, environmental protections, a long number of things. But aside from that, some folks will say Walmart has the legal right to set up shop. But the truth is, we as a community have the legal right to make it as hard as possible and to say we want our local businesses to thrive. We're not going to cater to an international corporation that literally extracts the money from our community, costs us jobs in the long run. I don't think this is the type of neighbor that we want to welcome. Walmart's certainly not working for the best interest of Sioux Falls. They're working for the top dollar and their bottom line, and that is why they have grown to this monolithic side, and they have really had a destructive path along the way. Those are my concerns. I know there is different groups, a wide range of people concerned about those agenda items. There's neighborhood folks that have very valid concerns about why the particular location on the south side is far from appropriate. This would start a whole new precedence for zoning in Sioux Falls if we allow the C4 development to happen right across the street from single-family homes. That's a precedence that I think indicates we need to put the brakes on this discussion. I know my personal beliefs about Walmart are not what are going to lead to this discussion. I'm not sure how much influence I could have on you with just saying Walmart's bad. But folks, I'm just asking you to please slow down the discussion. It's been a matter of months, and bringing in 2 more super centers into our city is a discussion that should happen over the course of 2 years. I know we are a very fast-growing community. I know that people want economic development, but we want the right type of development. We want to help the local businesses that are here right now, some of which are struggling. There is a very inspiring revitalization effort in downtown Sioux Falls. Nonprofits, businesses are coming back to life, and I applaud all of you for the hard work that you've put in to help downtown thrive. And I am concerned that if we welcome this corporation, if we help them come into town, that's hurting us in the long run. So I haven't heard any of you or yourself, Mayor, yet speak out against Walmart, to speak of concern about the type of negative impacts that that type of development will have on our community. I really hope that we will see some leaders step up to the plate and stand up for the locally owned businesses to keep our money local. And that's my comments this evening. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, members of the council. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Emmett, thank you as well. Is there anybody else who wanted to speak to the council? Please come forward, Ms. Stenga.
Tim Stenga. Just got one main concern, and it's been happening over the last week or so. Is when it comes to budget time, and we budget in an indoor swimming pool. I'm hoping that when we budget, if it is budgeted in, that the city council really looks at and really analyzes all the facilities that are out there, whether they're making it or whether they're not making it, and just let the public know the truth on the bottom dollar on what it's going to cost us and what it's going to cost to run that facility from one day, a week, a month, a year, and then to let us know the truth on whether or not that facility would be able to stand on its own. And another thing that really sticks in my mind every time I come in here and I listen to people talk about an indoor swimming pool, it's swim teams. That's the only people I hear talking about an indoor swimming pool. So I think the city council and the city has to realize, who are we really building this facility for? And going back to the hockey, the soccer, the football, the basketball, the city only gave, like, if I'm correct, it was 20%. They went out and raised the rest of the money. This is something that the city should not be in. This is something that the city can help. But I just look at, is a person going to run around in a t-shirt stating that we need an indoor swimming pool, then go out and sell your t-shirts to be able to build a facility?
Thank you, Tim. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council tonight? Welcome.
Scott Arisman, Sioux Falls. I'm going to talk about something different, but I just wanted to comment. One of the reasons why Emmett Reichstraffer wasn't able to put up his website is because it was a WordPress website, which is blocked by the city. All blogs are blocked by the city on the city computers. I thought that Kermit had mentioned that he wanted that changed for Carnegie Hall, but I guess it hasn't been. I just thought I'd point that out. Anyway, you know, like Emmett said, I'll agree with him. There's tons of information you can get on your own about Walmart and the evils of Walmart. I mean, you could spend multiple days reading articles about all the things they've done to communities. But I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about representational government. And that's what you guys are, representational government. The residents vote for you. They put you in office. They pay the taxes. Businesses like Walmart or Target or Hy-Vee, they're a tax collector. They collect the taxes from the residents. As a city council, you're voted in not by people at Walmart. You're voted in by residents of this community who are registered voters. The other thing you have to look at too is, besides protecting the rights of residents, is small business. And it amazes me because I look around at this council and all the small business owners, Dean Karski, Greg Jameson, Jim Entenman, Kenny's worked for many small businesses in this community. Kermit works for a private college here in town. And Michelle works for a regional employer and has helped with community gardens. It amazes me that a council that's built of small business owners in this community wouldn't support the rights of small business and the rights of residents. Does Walmart have a right to be there? A legal right? Yeah, they do. But why are you voting on it? You're voting on it because you are asked to represent your constituents. That's why you're voting on it. Remember that. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Anybody else want to engage the council tonight? Well, very good. Thank you so much, Emmett, Tim, and Scott. We appreciate it. We'll now move on to item number 20.
20 is deferred action from the City Council meeting of June 4, 2013. Transfer of a 2013 package liquor license from Lambo's Inc., Lambo's to Everest Gas and Convenience, LLC, Everest Gas and Convenience, LLC, to be operated at 3501 West 49th Street. Conditional use permit not required. 21 is a new 2013 retail wine license for Jerry Van Lowe, Jackie's Restaurant and Bakery, to be operated at 702 East 8th Street, with a conditional use permit being approved on April 13, 2006. Item 22 is various retail malt beverage, South Dakota Farm Winery, packaged malt beverage, and packaged malt beverage, South Dakota Farm Winery license renewals for 2013 and 14 to be operated at various locations in the City of Sioux Falls, identified as Exhibit E.
Lori, thank you. Welcome, Jamie.
Jamie Palmer with licensing. Item 21, I would like to request to defer that item until July 2nd. The purchasers of the business have run into a little snag with that, and the closing date will not be finalized until July 1. So,
Jamie, do you mean item 20?
I'm sorry, item 20. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the closing will need to occur before we can transfer this license. So so on that, I'll need to request to defer that item. Item 21 is the applicant currently holds a retail malt beverage license at this facility and just wants to expand their menu to include wine. Item 22 are the businesses that failed the underage compliance checks within the last renewal period of 5/21 to 5/20 of 13. There were 9 failed stings, and there are 6 businesses here to talk about those. There's representatives from each of the businesses present.
Council, did you want to proceed with the deferral, or did you want to go into the rest of the testimony? What would you prefer? Councilor Jamieson?
Yes, I'd make a motion to defer item number 20.
Second, Aguilar.
Councilor Jamieson's made a motion to defer item number 20, seconded by Councilor Aguilar. If there is no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Could I ask, would that be deferred to July 2nd?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Council members Anderson?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Erpenbach? Yes. Jamieson?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Council, Jamie, should we proceed with the businesses that failed the stings?
If you would like to.
Would you mind, would you just introduce these folks one by one and we'll have them come up and speak?
Sure. I'll just introduce them in the order that they are on the exhibit, if that's fine.
Yep.
The first gentleman would be Josh Hager with Franklin Food Market.
Welcome, Josh. Hi, Josh. Welcome. Would you mind just explaining to the people of Sioux Falls and the City Council maybe just some of the things that you're going to do to try to ensure that this doesn't happen again?
Honestly, we'll just keep doing the exact same thing we've always done. We train every employee is certified before they're even allowed to get to the register to start training. The registers have age verification on them, and honestly, the employee just chose to ignore all the, we'll continue to train them the way that we have, and
Josh, what happened to the employee? Could you let the council know?
They came in to sting him. He took the ID from the girl, carded her, and then just chose to put his own birthday in instead of actually using the age verification on the registers. Then he is terminated as part of the employment agreement.
There at Franklin?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Council, any questions of Josh? Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Jamie, who's next?
Deb Heidman from Come and Go.
Welcome, Deb.
Hi. I'm the new GM at Come and Go at 620. Last June, they had an employee that had gotten a sting. We have since terminated that employee. Every one of my new associates goes through the alcohol and drug training program, and I'm going to retake them all of the old employees through it again to make sure this doesn't happen in the future.
Deb, I know that one of the questions the council will ask is, do you have, what kind of technology do you utilize at Come and Go to try to catch folks like this?
We have age identification on the registers, and then I instruct everyone to scan their license instead of punching in the numbers so they don't make a mistake.
Okay. Council, any questions for Deb? Thank you, Deb.
Thank
Jamie.
you.
Darren Miller will be speaking about 2 stores for Get and Go.
Thank you. Darren, welcome.
I would just like to go over a couple highlights of our alcohol sales management plan. We think we have an in-depth, comprehensive plan. We have a lot of new employees all the time in our industry, so we're always trying to train as far as thinking about the new employees. We're always changing our plan to make it engaging. We're asking for feedback from our managers, and our plan is always changing. Some of the changes that we made in the last year are we updated our policies so that everybody knew exactly what was expected of them, and then we have everyone go over the policies, and we have signed acknowledgments from them. Every employee goes through an orientation process on their very first day, and policies and expectations are gone over with them. We have on-the-job training And extensive alcohol sales training goes on during that week, not only at the cash register, but with sit-down counseling sessions with the manager. And then we also send all of our employees in their first week to a CAST training class, which is a classroom setting CAST done by our trained trainers. We have company trainers that have been trained by state employees. Then we have an extensive awareness program that we are using. Some of the things that included on that are every store has a staff meeting every month, and it's required that they do an alcohol sales prevention activity, whether that be role playing, quizzes, reviewing policies. We send out emails, we make calls, and then some of the other things that we've changed recently are we've always kind of rewarded people when they passed a compliance check, and there's been penalties for when they fail, but we have really tried to emphasize the positiveness of it. And so now when someone passes or fails, they get immediate feedback on their very next shift. So when we are notified of the results, then we fill out a coaching form, send it to the manager, and they're required to sit down and visit with them and coach them on what they could have done better or to tell them that they did a good job. They're rewarded in front of their peers at their staff meeting every month. So we also send out the results of any compliance check, whether it be a city, county, or internal one. We do internal ones every month ourselves. We send out the results to all of our stores just to keep the awareness up of how we're doing, both good or bad. So we're really trying to make it part of our culture to be responsible retailers of alcohol. And but it's something that we work hard at, but it's always a work in progress.
Darren, thank you. It's probably the most thorough explanation we've maybe ever had here at the council. So what happened? What do you think happened? And what happened to these two employees after they failed?
Sure. When we have someone fail and it's their first time within a year, the penalties for them are they have to go through retraining with their store manager. We also have virtual training, so there's some computer programs that they would do. There's some payroll deductions and written warnings that go in their file, but they're not terminated. Okay. And then their second time within a year, they would be terminated. And what happened was, for one of them, I don't know the details on the three of them, but one of them was a new employee that got left alone. And so we have some of the changes that we made are trying to fill in those gaps. There's been changes to the store manager's job description. Also, we've come up with like the get and go expectation sheet that has gone over with people every quarter, and it lets them know in very clear words about our most frequently used policies and procedures. And so we're always talking about this topic. And so we had a human error is what happened.
Thanks, Josh. Council, questions? Yes, Councilor Urbanbach.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just had a specific question about your store number 11 that had failed two stings in 6 months time period. And we fully acknowledge these are tough jobs. We understand that this is a tough spot to be in, and we also know that we don't have any real recourse other than to publicly humiliate you for a few minutes. But this one in particular is concerning because you're talking to us about a really great program. It sounds like it should work. But within 6 months, that same store failed 2 different stings. Can you talk about that and address that for me?
What I would say about that is that, we are trying to make this part of our culture. I think we've been successful at that, but we had a manager there who did not embrace that. And so we have made a change at that store. We have a new manager there as of the first quarter of this year. The manager was not living up to our expectations in that area. I'm not saying that that's necessarily the only reason why that change was made, but it was a very important reason for us because we have 18 stores and none of them with that problem, so that definitely was on our radar too.
If I might, Mr. Mayor, I just think that's important for your folks to understand this. We have really high standards as a community, and I appreciate hearing that from you, that you kind of pinpointed where it might have been and took care of it. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, Councilor Karski.
Thank you. You know, I was looking at your paperwork, what your employees sign, and I mean, it clearly states if I am found guilty, I can be fined, jailed, or both. I understand I am personally responsible for my attorney fees as well as paying any fine. I mean, your employees signed this. I was going to suggest role playing. You said you do role playing. I know Councilor Jameson went out on a sting one time, and it totally befuddles me how you can take a red license plate, turn it so it's vertical, and still sell alcohol to somebody. I don't know if you have videos of that. I'd almost like to see how people react to doing that type of thing. It's totally beyond my comprehension how this can continue to go on. I applaud you on your efforts. I want you to remain diligent, and management sets the standard for what your employees do. So, remember that.
If I could just make one comment to that, and I 100% agree. But in our experience, most of the employees who fail with the procedure, they don't even ask for the ID. So all of the things that are built in about having the vertical ID and all the technology that we have and all the procedures don't even come into play, because for some reason the employees don't even ask for the ID, even though we train and it's part of our culture. So for the last 30 years, we've had the policy that if someone doesn't look 40, we need to card them. So we have 19 years of buffer in there to help alleviate their judgment. And so it's just people that chose to forego a lot of training and a lot of expectations. And so.
Yes, Councilor Jameson.
Thank you. Get and Go has one of the biggest exposures in our community of 18 stores. Is that what you said?
Yes, 15 in Sioux Falls and then some other communities.
Okay, 15 stores in Sioux Falls, and the Sioux Falls Police Department is frequently visiting your stores, as they are others, but you have a unique exposure in the market. You'd mentioned once about your positive reinforcement for those who have passed. Mm-hmm. Could you explain that just a little further? What is it that I know you talk about presenting that award in front of their peers, but is there a financial reward? Is there anything else you can tell me about that?
Yep, we do. Since we do a lot of our own compliance checks, we step them up quite a bit in frequency. What they get is a $10 gift certificate, but we are doing them at least once a month, plus the city is doing them once a month. We used to reward only the people that passed the city sting, and we would give them a $50 gift certificate, and we would not reward them when we were doing our own. And so now we reward on every one of them, and it's not really the dollar amount, it's mounted on a nice card, and then usually from the office we're sending a thank you for doing a good job, but then in front of their peers at the monthly staff meeting, the manager makes a big presentation out of it, and just to hopefully reinforce their good behavior too, and let them know that we're watching and that it's important to us.
Very good. Thank you so much. Jamie?
TJ Von Wald for Walgreens.
Welcome, TJ.
I'm TJ Von Wald. I work at Boyce Greenfield here in town, and with me from Walgreens is Dan Dannenberg. He's the store manager of the violating store in this particular instance. I'll just give a quick summary of what happened on the day there, and if there's any specific questions, Dan will probably be able to better advise the council and the mayor. In this particular instance, the purchaser came in, gave the store clerk the ID, and the store clerk actually tried scanning it multiple occasions, I think 3 or 4. And what ended up happening is there's on the point of sale, the glare was coming in from the sun and blocking the prompt on where the store clerk had to see whether it rang up 21 or older or not. And she didn't know that it was down there, that it was ringing up under 21. So she kept scanning it, couldn't see it, scanning it, couldn't see it, and ended up pushing a button on the computer screen that bypassed and said the person was 21. And even after that, she scanned the card again, thinking that she didn't have it, but by that time, the beer rang up and it went through, and she thought the ID cleared at that time. So that's the facts behind this.
Since then, they've done some retraining with the clerk. They've actually tinted the windows in the store to reduce that glare on the screen, on that flat screen, and gone through their policies and procedures again and tried to emphasize the fact and tried to take a little bit of the computer out of it and use a little bit more human, take a look at the ID rather than rely 100% on the computer, to incorporate both of them to go through there. For what it's worth, the clerk got her ticket dismissed in front of the magistrate court based on those facts. I think the judge recognized that she was trying really hard to do the right thing, but on this particular occasion it didn't work out. So those are the facts behind it. The clerk still works there. She's been retrained. She's been given her final warning. If she has one more violation, she will be terminated. But given the circumstances, they felt that she's a good employee and she'll do better. So
thanks, TJ. Yes, Councilor Stragers.
Yeah, I guess my question is, if the violation was dismissed by a magistrate judge, why are you here tonight?
Well, I think he has to be here for the renewal.
But I mean, it's kind of like that person was kind of indicating being innocent, did not violate.
Yep, the clerk was exonerated, but the store was not. The store's ticket remained. They didn't get a chance to go in and fight it the same way as the clerk did. So essentially, we're here on that behalf.
Okay.
Well, TJ, thank you. Dan, thank you as well.
Thank you.
You bet.
Linda Thorson and Tammy Johnson will be speaking about Casey's. There's 2 stores that had violations, and one of the store actually had 2 fails within the renewal period.
That was Linda and Tammy?
Yes, Linda and Tammy.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Tammy Johnson. I'm a supervisor with Casey's, and I supervise most of the stores here in Sioux Falls. I have 5 out of the 7. The ones that failed were my stores. The employees, I mean, we train them. We have so much training that we do. We do age-restricted training the day that they're hired. They sign off on a paper that they understand our policy. We do quarterly training on the age-restricted, and then yearly. We also do a yearly training. The one that failed at the Sycamore store, the first one, she didn't even card. She was fired on the spot. The second one actually ID'd the gal, and he scanned it, didn't scan, so he punched in the birth date, punched it in wrong. He was also fired on the spot. You know, we don't condone it. I don't know how much more training we can do. We're very, very, very thorough in our training. Any suggestions, I would be happy to.
Thank you.
To try
Thank
something.
you. Councilor Jamieson?
You know, you asked for suggestions, and I think the best thing that I've learned, and we've maybe learned as a group, is the reinforcement of positive, good behavior. So all those who pass the sting operations, like the gentleman Get and Go, and I'm sure others are doing, I would encourage you to do that. When I was out and rode along, we found some of the employees, like at Walgreens, one of the people that passed was very excited that they passed. They knew that they just about got caught, and they got to keep their job, and that was a big deal to them. So I would encourage you to support those people who do pass with some positive reinforcement.
And we do. We don't do anything financially, but they do get a letter from our vice president of Casey's, and then I go in there and I praise them up and down and thank you, thank you, thank you. You did a great job. Keep up the good work. But we don't ever do anything financially. Maybe we should.
Lynn and Tammy, thank you.
Thank you.
Jamie, how are we doing?
Got one more, and
Okay.
Joe from Cubbies.
Joe, welcome.
I'm Joe with Cubbies. I'm the area supervisor for the South Dakota stores. First of all, I do want to commend Darren and Get and Go. I worked for them several years ago. They have a great program, and I'm sure it's changed a lot since I was there. With Cubbies, we do certify everybody with a TAM training course. We have one trainer right now. So sometimes the availability is hard. We try to get several people together. As many of you know, that the turnover in convenience stores is rather high sometimes. We are in the middle of instituting a new program that's online, which the first day they start, that's the first thing they do, so that before they even get on a cash register, they are trained on this. We currently have the following policies in place. We certify all of ours through the TAM training course. Each week on Friday night, we assign different managers and supervisors to call every location or company, which involves Iowa, South Dakota, and Nebraska. We call them and we tell them to make sure we card tonight. Friday seems to be a hot spot. Your college kids are home from school, and you get everybody that's underage trying to buy alcohol. If we have an employee that fails a sting, the first time they're suspended for 3 days plus, depending on their work status with us. The second time they are terminated. We also are equipped with scanning IDs, punching in IDs. I've been in the business for 18 years, and I've seen somebody type in the wrong date. They transposed numbers, and they failed to sting. So it can be a human error. On this case, the young man was on his second day of work. The person that was training him ran back to the kitchen to take some pizzas out of the oven. It was during the busy time of day. He never even asked for ID. We were going to suspend him. He actually resigned within 2 days of that time, and we've never heard from him since. So there was no discipline happening at that time because he quit. Like I said, sometimes it's human error, sometimes it's negligence on the clerk. We do train. We are going to forward our training process, and hopefully we can get better from there. Any questions?
Thank you, Joe.
All right.
Well, Jamie, any other comments?
No, I don't have anything.
Council, any comments? Councilor Entman?
I think we're going to probably continue with this. I just think that we need to be aware of what's happening when there are violations, honestly. I asked Jamie to make sure that we had these folks here tonight. I'd like to thank you for coming here and explaining again your policies on this, but I do think that it's essential that we do our due diligence in keeping people aware of what our expectations are here. With that being said, I'll move that we approve these.
Thank you, Councilor Entman.
Second, Karski.
Thank you, Councilor Karski, for seconding that. Any discussion? Yes, Councilor Urbanbach.
Just clarification, we are approving items 21 and 22. Is
Yes.
that what the motion
Yes.
is? Thank you.
I was going to...
Oh, I'm so sorry. Councilor Jameson.
Just one other further comment on the violations. When I went out along with the police force, I just wanted to reaffirm with the council that the police department's approach is pretty sophisticated. The person they use is like 19 years old. It looks like he is 17. So it's not somebody with 20 years old with a beard kind of looking guy. They have an ID. It's clearly the red vertical approach. It's not like they don't have an ID, and they just see if they can get away with it. The approach is fair and legitimate. These people who fail are trained beyond belief. I believe that to be true. And the one that I saw that failed was just completely, absolutely lazy. And I don't know how you fix that. I don't know if this council could ever fix that, but I just wanted to reassure the council that the approach that the city is doing and the police department is right.
Thank you, Councilor Jameson. Councilor Anderson, Jr.
Just to add to that, the last couple times we've had these businesses come up, we also have to congratulate them. They have done everything that they electronically, technology-wise, that they can to make sure that their employees don't make these mistakes, or whether it's just a conscious effort to do it. But no matter what, we understand that the business owners are also trying to make sure that these type of events don't happen.
Council, good discussion. There's been a motion to approve item 21 and 22. It was seconded. If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson. Yes. Entenmann.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Item 23.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the Code of Ordinances of the city by revising the Board of Health.
Welcome, Jill.
Thank you. Jill Franken, Health Director for the City of Sioux Falls. This item is, the intent of this proposed ordinance revision is to change the composition of the Board of Health, which will authorize the Board of Health and Falls Community Health Governing Board to operate as distinct and separate boards and structures. It also provides an interface between the city's health-related boards by assuring representation from the Regional Emergency Medical Services Authority, or REMSA Board, and Falls Community Health Board on the Board of Health as proposed. All three of these boards have been consulted and are in full support of this ordinance change as proposed. Additionally, while we're in Chapter 92 with revisions, I also recommend 2 additional changes to the Falls Community Health Board section of ordinance to align this section with our Community Health Center federal program requirements. First, we need to specify that no more than 2 of the non-patient health center board members may be individuals who derive more than 10% of their annual income from the healthcare industry. And second, that since the role of the public health director is also to serve as the program director for Falls Community Health, that when the public health director is recommended for appointment, the mayor shall submit the proposed candidate to the governing board of Falls Community Health prior to submission to the city council. This is very similar to ordinance language where the parks director as well actually took that almost exact language and put it into our ordinance as proposed.
Jill, thank you. Folks, this is a second reading, so you have an opportunity to engage the council on this if you want. Anybody interested? Very good. Council, any motions or?
Move for approval, Anderson.
Second, Erpenbach.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve item 23, seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. There is no discussion. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson.
Yes.
Entenmann.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
And that is passed 7-0. Thank you. Item 24.
Second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the Code of Ordinances of the city by amending certain provisions of Chapters 50, 51, and 53 relating to wastewater regionalization.
Welcome, Trent.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Trent Livers with the Office of Public Works. The changes in the ordinance before you tonight essentially provide the framework for us to enter into agreements with communities that want to participate in the regional wastewater system. It establishes a fair and equitable rate for all those communities to pay for the operation and maintenance for a volumetric charge, and then it also provides an equitable rate for the cost of each unit of capacity. We're certainly here to answer any questions, and there are 2 of the communities that currently contract with us here. Renner Sanitary District is here tonight, and also the City of Harrisburg, so we're available for questions.
Trent, thank you. Folks in the audience, again, a second reading. Anybody want to speak to this item? Very good. Council? Yeah, Councilor Erpenbach.
I just had, I have a comment and then a question for Trent. I think I've spent quite a bit of time with this, which I can't believe I'm studying wastewater, but okay, that's my job. It's not really fair, though, to compare the landfill and the museums as regionalization pieces. It's not fair to compare them because both of those have advisory boards where the stakeholders are involved in the operations of those facilities. And so I think that's important for us to understand that really what this is a business arrangement, that the city has a product to sell, and that we're selling it, we're making it available to potential customers. And the plan really, they can make the choice to not participate if they don't want to. So that leads me to my question is, what happens to Sioux Falls and what happens to our wastewater treatment plant, Trent, if one of those communities or more than one of those communities, because we have that green circle, the 10-mile area, What if they decide not to come into it? I mean, I'm looking at the numbers, and we're within 2% of usage of being ready to, we've got to plan a bigger plant. Whether we add them or not, we're going to have to build a bigger plant. What happens if, I don't know, T or whoever says, nah, we're not going to do it, we're going to build our own? What happens to us and what happens to our plant?
Well, currently our plan is at about 62 to 65% capacity. I think it's in the mid-60s, and at 75% is when we start design for a new treatment facility, and then 90% we should be building. One of the things to consider is that part of our long-term plan right now is to add an additional wastewater treatment facility on the southeast side as part of that southeast growth and development area. So we're already taking some measures and planning for that. Regarding whether a community comes in or not, certainly that's capacity that's available for the customers and the citizens of Sioux Falls, and it will delay the time that would be necessary to build improvements to the facility, or delay the time when that new facility would have to be constructed. We don't have revenue from those communities other than the agreements that we have right now programmed into our rate model. So it really doesn't impact our rate model currently. It doesn't impact our rate model projections. It would impact it going forward because that would be new revenue coming in, and so the costs associated with that would be spread out. I hope I answered your question.
No, I think so. I think what you're saying is we're ready to roll with the punches if that were to happen. I mean, we've looked at that 10-mile area, right? He's laughing at me. We've looked at that 10-mile area and said these are potential customers for us,
right,
but they may not all jump in.
Correct.
We're ready. If either it's going to work or it's not going to work, right? And
right,
that's where we're at.
And it's completely their choice. It's a local decision. This is not a regional planning authority similar to like Minneapolis Met Council. If you're in the Met Council's planning authority and you want to do wastewater and I want to start Trent City, I have to discharge to Met Council. That's my only choice. I have to participate in their system, even if I think I could do it on my own. So every community has the freedom to make that choice on their own based on looking at the financials that we provide. What they have now with this system is they have the financials, so they can take a look at that and make the right decision for them.
Okay, thank you.
Very good, Counselor. Love your homework. Counselor Karski.
Along the same vein, but coming at it from a different angle, the way this state statute is written, and if we approve this ordinance, do we have to take every community that comes to us? Is it something that is optional? You know, maybe we don't like their wastewater. Maybe our mayor doesn't like their mayor, whatever the case may be. I mean, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's an excellent question, and that's certainly part of the agreement process when we sit down and a community wants to discharge to the city of Sioux Falls. The first thing we have to do at the discharge point is make sure that we have the capacity available for them. But we do have a system in place based on looking at things regionally and planning regionally. Let's say a community wants to come in and discharge wastewater to us. That conversation should be happening today. So if they're thinking about it and it's a potential for them, this is not something that's going to happen tomorrow. We'd be planning the infrastructure and putting that in place. To get to the point of your question, I'm not sure. And I'm not sure if Paul can help me with that because he's been involved. Whether we have, the way the state ordinance is written, whether we can refuse wastewater treatment to a customer if they come and propose to us.
You know, in reference to whether, or Paul Bingford, Assistant City Attorney, in reference to whether or not we can refuse, we're entering into agreements with these communities. So we have to come up with an agreement that's acceptable to the city of Sioux Falls and that community. If we're unable to reach that agreement, then we won't be doing business with that other community.
Okay, I can accept that.
Thank you.
Good. Counselor Aguilar.
Trent, do we have a guesstimate as far as when we'll hit that threshold that we need to start planning, and then when we get to the 90%, start building?
We do have some projections, and those projections have changed. 2007, it looked like it was coming sooner than later, and then there was an economic slowdown, and things are spinning back up again from a growth and development standpoint. So we're taking a look at those, and we're projecting forward. But I can tell you that the new wastewater treatment plant that we have programmed in our CIP beyond the 5-year, we've already done the land acquisition for that new wastewater treatment facility, and we're really looking at design in that 17 to 19 time frame, and then construction in that 19 to 2022 time frame.
Thank you.
Councilor Jameson.
I'm all for the creation of Trent City. I really like that humor getting slipped in there. Trent, did you say you had somebody here from Harrisburg?
Yeah, there are representatives from Harrisburg here.
If it's possible, I'd like to hear a representative express the value of this system to them. I think nobody probably benefits as much as Harrisburg.
Mayor Bowen, and it's a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to the City of Sioux Falls, and congratulations on your role as the mayor of Harrisburg. Welcome.
Thank you, and members of the council and Mayor Huther. This is something that we've been talking about with Sioux Falls for quite a long time, and it's something that we know that we're going to have to, being the small town that we are, we're going to have to come up with some different options and solutions than building our own plant or doing those types of things. So we've worked. This is in probably about the fifth year that we've worked with the City of Sioux Falls on this plan, and so we're excited about it. We're excited to be part of it.
Mayor, again, we're honored to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet. Well, Council, any further comments?
Mr. Mayor, I
Yes.
move approval.
Thank you.
Anderson.
Councilor Aguilar, thank you so much, and Councilor Anderson Jr., thank you for seconding it. We do have a motion. It has been seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson.
Yes.
Entenmann. Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
That has passed 7-0. Thank you. Item 25.
Second reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, authorizing the sale of real estate belonging to the City of Sioux Falls and directing a warranty deed of conveyance be delivered to the purchaser thereof.
Trent Livers with the Office of Public Works. This approximately 19-acre parcel of ground is located on the corner of Sycamore and Benson Road, out near the existing wastewater treatment plant. This land has been an asset of the wastewater treatment facility for some time. There were no long-term needs for this piece of property for the wastewater treatment facility, and there was no development interest in this piece of property. South Dakota Army National Guard has been leasing this piece of ground for training purposes for a long-term period of time. They expressed an interest in sale, and they agreed to terms based on the appraisal that was done.
Thank you, Trent. Anybody want to speak to this item? Council?
Move for approval, Anderson.
Second, Entenmann.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve item 25, seconded by Councilor Entenmann. If there is no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson. Entenmann.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Karski. Staggers.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
That has passed 7-0. Thank you. Item 26.
Second reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, providing supplemental appropriations.
Tracy, welcome.
Good evening. Tracy Turback with the Finance Office. The purpose of this supplemental appropriation ordinance is to reimburse the general fund city departments that incurred unanticipated expenses for Operation Timber Strike following the ice storm on April 8th, I believe it was. This would restore the budget for these 5 departments. Street Department would be supplemented $7,288,000. Parks and Recreation Department, $613,000. Fire, $80,000. Engineering, $48,000. And Police for $9,000, bringing the total supplemental ordinance to $8,038,000. I would stand by for any questions you folks have.
Tracy, thank you. Folks, would anybody want to speak to this item? Council?
Move to approve, Entenmann.
Second, Karski.
Councilor Eminence made a motion to approve item 26, seconded by Councilor Karski. Any discussion, any questions? A roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson.
Yes.
Entenmann.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Item 27.
First reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at I-229 and East Benson Road from the AG Agricultural District to the I-1 Light Industrial District, petition number 2013-0406, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
Welcome, Mike.
Good evening. I'm Mike Cooper with Planning and Building Services. We have a number of items to go through tonight for first reading that were considered by the Planning Commission at their June 5th regular monthly meeting. Item 27 is a petition presented by Tom Sweetman, representing Sweetman Partners, LLP. And this is located east of Interstate 229 and south of East Benson Road. The land is approximately 17 acres in size. It's currently undeveloped. It's a former mining area for sand and gravel. The Sweetman family would like to begin developing this as a future industrial park. And this first segment that they're looking at would be developed for a potential warehouse building. We've had discussions with the landowner. The Development Foundation has land across the street to the north, and then also with Public Works, because what we're working on is more of a long-range plan for an industrial park as well as a sanitary sewer basin. This initial stage, we're looking at serving by extending a sewer line across to the west side of Interstate 229, but the long-term plan would be to expand a sanitary sewer system into this area, not only that would serve this potential land area, but also the Development Foundation land to the north. So this is the first stage. This is in conformance with our comprehensive plan, and it is being recommended for approval.
Thank you, Mike. Council, any questions or motions?
Move to approve Entenmann.
Second, Aguilar.
Councilor Entenmann's made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Councilor Aguilar. Is there any discussion? Yes, Councilor Anderson Jr.
Mike, we have for the industrial park that's already developed to the north.
Yes.
Where's the road positioning of that proposed road that's supposed to go through here?
Yeah, that would be an extension of Bonson Avenue, it would be called, that would go north up to 60th Street, and that would line up with the intersection of what we call Hall Road now. So it would extend up through that area all the way to 60th Street.
So further to the east then?
Yep.
Thank you.
And this development plan is one that we'll continue to work on with the applicant as far as going beyond the initial 17 acres.
Council, roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson.
Yes.
Entenmann.
Yes.
Erpenbach. Yes. Jamison.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Staggers.
I have a quick question. We're not approving this right now, are we?
No, we are setting a
Just for the
date of
second,
hearing
okay.
and second reading for Tuesday, July 2nd at 7 p.m. Sorry, Councilor Staggers. That's a very good point. Thank you. Good job.
Yes.
Okay. And Aguilar.
Yes.
Very good. That is passed 7-0. Item number 28.
First reading an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at East 69th Street and South Bonson Avenue from the S Institutional, RA1 Residential, and RC Recreation Conservation District to the RS2 Residential, RD Residential, RA1 Residential, and RC Recreation Conservation District. Petition number 2013-0511, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is located generally southwest of the corner of East 69th and South Bonson Avenue. The applicant is Scott Gilbert, representing Whispering Woods South LLC. The property is just over 60 acres in land area, and the purpose is to develop this into a combination of low-density residential, multifamily residential, and then there would also be some stormwater detention proposed as part of this land area. The exhibit on the left shows what the current zoning was approved a number of years ago. The developer's taking a new look at this, and the revised zoning will include approximately 44 acres of low-density residential that could be single-family or twin homes, just over 5 acres of RD zoning, which again would be twin home or fourplexes. The RA1, which is just over 8 acres, would be the future multifamily, and then the stormwater detention is the recreation conservation, which is approximately 3 acres.
Mike, thank you. Yes, Councilor Karski.
A question for you, Mr. Cooper. Even though the zoning would be changed and we have all these different uses, the builder could build a single family in any one of them, is that correct?
Except for the recreation conservation.
Yes, okay. Thank you.
Councilor Anderson Jr.
Mike, as always, I'm concerned about draining down in that area. Are there anything special that's going to be needed down there to make sure that it drains properly and doesn't affect any other communities to the south of them.
Correct. That's the purpose of the stormwater detention. The 3-acre BMP would be something that would be designed in conformance with the engineering design standards that would serve to accommodate the development and the stormwater runoff. So yes, that will go through a very extensive review process.
Thank you.
Council, good job. Would anybody want to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 2nd for item 28?
So moved. Aguilar.
Second, Karski.
Councilor Aguilar has made that motion, seconded by Councilor Karski. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson.
Yes.
Entman. Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 7-0. Item 29.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at East 69th Street and South Bonson Avenue from the AG Agricultural District to the RS2 Residential, RD Residential, and RC Recreation Conservation District, petition number 2013-0512, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
Okay, this property is on the north side of East 69th Street and east of what would be Bonson Avenue, directly across from the previous item. Again, the applicant is Scott Gilbert with Whispering Woods South LLC. This property consists of just over 38 acres in size, and the purpose of this is to develop a future elementary school site along with a future neighborhood park, and then it would be surrounded by medium-density residential along with stormwater detention area. So on the left, you see that it's currently zoned agriculture, and then on the right shows the zoning districts as proposed to accommodate discussions that we've been having with the Harrisburg School District, as well as City Parks and Recreation and the developer on how this property could accommodate those three uses.
Thank you, Mike. Councilor Erpenbach.
If I could just want to understand, we're looking at 69th, right?
Yes.
Is it 69th? Sorry. Yeah. But then, okay, it's between Southeastern and Sycamore.
Let's go back.
Pretty, talk about what those intersections are going to look like 5-10 years down the road.
Well, the intersection of 69th and Southeastern is our roundabout.
Okay.
That's our existing roundabout. And we designed that again based on our 2035 traffic projections. That's a major east-west arterial, as well as Southeastern Avenue. And then again, Sycamore is a north-south major arterial. So both of those intersections in the future will be signalized, although the roundabout was an option that we designed, a different way to control the traffic.
And this would be an elementary school, right?
Yes.
So we have zoning rules about elementary schools being in residential areas and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, what we would like to do is locate an elementary school within each section of residential development. And the location varies as you get into the details based on available services and an available property owner that's willing to sell the land. So this particular location would serve basically that square mile from 69th up to 57th and from Southeastern over to Sycamore. That's kind of the concept that we put together for a neighborhood school site.
Can I ask one more question? If we look back at the one at item 27 that we just approved a hearing for, there's C4 zoning in that, right?
Yes. Let's go back to
on that corner of 69th and Southeastern. What could be there?
That would be, C4 would allow a number of retail services. Anything over 1 acre would have to go through conditional use. This, again, was designed to provide some neighborhood services to this developing area that will include residential.
Okay. Thank you.
And then it would have office as well for other neighborhood services around it.
Okay.
Council, good job again. Would anybody want to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 2nd for item 29?
So move, Anderson.
Second, Entman.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made that motion, seconded by Councilor Entman. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson.
Yes.
Entman. Yes. Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 7-0. Item 30.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 409 South Williams Avenue from the RA1 Residential District to the C2 General Commercial District, petition number 2013-0515, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property at 409 South Williams Avenue is located south of West 12th Street and on the west side of Williams Avenue. This is an existing residential property. The applicant is Erickson Oil Products Incorporated. The Freedom Value Store that currently is on the corner is being proposed to be reconstructed with a larger store as well as a car wash. So they would like to change the zoning of this one lot from multifamily residential to commercial to accommodate the store reconstruction. This is just about 1.5 acres total in size. And we have a concept plan as to how the store would be reconfigured to comply with our design requirements. There was a question too about floodplain. There was a Board of Adjustment case that was approved for a variance to allow this property to be reconstructed because of the existing footprint of the building that's been there and the fact that it would not require major mitigation in terms of any flood concerns. So I know that question came up. But they would still be required to have flood insurance until our flood maps get revised.
Councilor Karski.
And that was one question, Mike, thank you. The other one is, we're changing from residential to commercial in a residential neighborhood. What have the neighbors said?
I don't think we had any public comments on this one. You know, we've typically worked closely with neighborhoods, especially when we have car washes.
Exactly.
And our experience, like a lot of things, is that what people believe is going to happen once they're installed, they're not that bad. But there would be screening required. As part of the conditional use to review this, we would look at the mitigation of the noise, the lighting, the traffic for this reconstruction.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Councilor Hudson Jr.
Mike, along West 12th Street between Western and Kiwanis, a lot of the businesses there are wanting to expand. The only place they really have is back into these residentials. What's our plan for that there? Because I'm seeing this and I'm hearing some other cases where they're not allowed to expand.
Well, we look at each one on a case-by-case basis, but what we're trying to do is look at how far off 12th Street do you start to make that transition from residential to non-residential. And you can see that as you go, and we can show more examples of along that corridor where those boundaries have fluctuated over the years. So what we've tried to do is, again, look at the residential impacts. In this case, because it's zoned high-density multifamily versus low-density residential, that would be an area that we would feel more comfortable as far as making that transition. But we do know that, again, as these development areas change over the years, that we look at those transitions. We look at the landscaping, the screening, the lighting is one way that we can deal with those on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, also, between this property and the convenience store, there was another, I think, commercial property. Have they purchased that property already, or?
The one that's being rezoned?
No.
I guess I'm not sure what your question is.
You have the convenience store, and then behind the convenience store, there's another property there. It
Yes.
used to be a window company or something.
That's already zoned commercial, yes. I believe they have.
But have they already purchased that property?
I don't know if they have a purchase option or if they've actually purchased it. I do not know that. But we'll find out for second reading.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Councilor Jameson.
Thank you. The setback from 12th Street is going to change dramatically, right? If I saw the preliminary plan layout, shows a parking lot there right next to 12th. Is that just seems odd?
Yes. Yeah, those are the gas pumps.
Those are gas pumps.
Yep.
Okay, good.
And
Yeah, I was
cars.
like, what in the world? Okay, very good.
And then there would be a landscape setback off 12th Street and Williams. Yeah, that's the gas pumps with the canopy.
Gotcha.
which gives, if I can, that gives them a lot more setback than they have right now at that location.
Thank you.
One more question.
Oh, please.
Mike, is there a plan? I know I've heard rumblings in the past. Are they building this with the intent of rebuilding their main store after the flood maps are rewritten? Have you heard anything on that?
I have not heard that myself, but I can ask the applicant.
It probably doesn't matter. I was just curious. Thank you.
Mayor, one.
Mike, are those folks here tonight?
No.
Okay, thank you.
We don't
Councilor
have-
Anderson Jr.
Mike, one other thing that maybe you can bring to us at the second reading. I'm really concerned about the traffic at that intersection of Williams, because you have Burger King, McDonald's, and Ace Hardware there, and things get very confusing when 12th Street's busy. So I guess I'd like to see how that's going to be worked out there with the new design.
Well, one of the things that we'll be doing, if you can go back to the aerial photo, is the driveway access is being modified to help comply with our engineering design standards. But yeah, we can talk about that in more detail with you at second reading.
Thank you.
Jason, could you just point out that area, if you wouldn't mind, for the people watching on City Link? Thank you. And Mike, could you just show where that intersection is going to be revised a little bit?
Yeah, if we go to with the new store, the driveway off 12th Street would be moved to the very west side of the property boundary. And then the access off Williams Avenue would also be shifted to accommodate the ingress and egress. And then there would be an exit lane south of the car wash. Right now, it's not as well defined as far as the access.
They're moving two driveways.
Yep. We'll show you a better comparison of the two.
Thank you. Councilor Urbanbach.
At the same time, could you expand this just a little bit and show us the Walgreens driveway there as well? Because I think what Councilor Anderson is alluding to is we got a bunch of driveways there, and that's part of what happens, especially at about 5:15 to about 6:15 along there. It's pretty tough. But if we could just see it, I'm sure it's going to be fine, but if we could just see it, that'd be cool.
Very good, Council. Would anybody want to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 2nd for item 30?
So move, Entenmann.
Second, Anderson.
Councilor Anderson's made that motion, seconded by Councilor Anderson Jr. If there is no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson.
Yes.
Entenmann.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Thank you. Item 31.
First reading an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at West Team Drive and North Tarrant Circle from the RC Recreation Conservation District to the I-1 Light Industrial District, petition number 2013-0533, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is a property that consists of just under 10 acres, actually. Concrete Materials is the owner and applicant for the rezoning. And this is just east of Interstate 29, north of Madison, west of Louise. This property is currently zoned recreation conservation because that's the land use that fits best with the mining operation. I should say the zoning that fits best with that land use. The proposed rezoning would allow Concrete Materials to construct a corporate office building for their use on this site that's just under 10 acres. And so that's the reason that they're asking for the change from recreation conservation to light industrial.
Councilor Anderson Jr.
Mike, there's a building going up there right now. Is that any part of Concrete Materials?
No, I think that's a separate building.
Councilor Karski.
Mike, I just have to ask, I imagine we've had our engineering look at it, and with RC there right now, and then putting a building and parking lot, are we going to have any drainage issues?
Yes, I mean, again, their site plan, when they come in for the building permit, will have to show how they're going to accommodate the drainage, because of the building and the parking lot will create additional runoff. So yes, that will have to be addressed.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor.
Yes, Councilor Anderson Jr.
Mike, could you show the map of the area again? Where is that other building being placed in there?
The proposed building?
No, the building that's being built right now, it's right in that area? Okay.
Yep. We'll find out who that is. Is that the one you're thinking of?
Yeah, there's an actual
Yep.
steel building being constructed as we speak, so I guess I was wondering if that has any association with this. Thank you.
Good job.
Move approval, Karski. Second, Entenmann.
Councilor Karski has made a motion to approve item 31, or I'm sorry, Councilor Karski has made a motion to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 2nd for item 31. And it was seconded by Councilor Entenmann. Thank you, Councilor Staggers. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson.
Yes.
Entenmann.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 7-0. Item 32.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at the northwest corner of the intersection at West 85th Street and South Audi Avenue from the RD Residential District to the RS2 Residential District, petition number 2013-0534, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property consists of just about 39 acres, and it includes 90 existing single-family residential properties. This is known as the Twin Eagles Estates area. And if you recall back when we were doing our Shaped Places zoning ordinance, there was an amendment made to change the zoning of this neighborhood from RD to RS2. Because of the referendum, we've had them come back and repetition under the current 1983 ordinance. So this is the same request that you heard from the neighborhood before. It also includes a stormwater detention pond, which is on the north side of 85th Street.
Very good, Mike. Council, questions? Any motions?
Move to set the date of the first reading, or for the second reading.
Councilor Entenmann's made a motion to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 2nd for item 32. Is there a second?
Second, Aguilar.
Seconded by Councilor Aguilar. If there's no discussion, roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson.
Yes.
Entenmann. Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Item 33.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at the southwest corner of East 85th Street and South Minnesota Avenue from the AG Agricultural District to the C4 Planned Commercial O Office and RC Recreation Conservation District, petition number 2013-0536, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property consists of just over 39 acres of land area. It's bounded on the north side by 85th Street, east side Minnesota Avenue, and then along the south is the future South Dakota 100 corridor. The applicant is Walmart stores, along with Lloyd Companies representing the property owner. The proposal for this rezoning is to allow future retail office development, and there will be associated stormwater detention to accommodate the projected development area. Based on the proposed zoning, there would be about 7 acres of recreation conservation, 1 acre of office, 28 acres of C4 commercial, of which 18 would be approximately used by the Walmart store, and then the remaining is right-of-way of the property site. We have had a lot of discussion about this site over the last few months, as well as the proposed use. We had a lot of discussion at the Planning Commission meeting. First of all, the applicant, Walmart, talked about the changes in their development plan since this was initially presented to the Planning Commission a few months ago. And just as a reminder, when we go to second reading, along with the rezoning, there would also be on the council agenda a preliminary subdivision plan that will show the street access, the lot and block layout. And that's where we'll get into a lot more discussion about the traffic study, the ingress, egress, and what impacts it will have on the transportation system. And then, again, with our current zoning ordinance, the final step in the process would potentially be a conditional use permit application, which you would drill down into the really specifics of the site plan, the landscaping, the building, the signage, the lighting. That's typically what we would look at in more detail with the conditional use. But for now, I know we're talking about the zoning change, the land use. Is this an appropriate location for future retail and office development? We heard quite a bit from the neighborhood, as we have in the past. And if I could summarize the major concerns that we've heard from: the traffic impacts, impacts on the school routes. We have an elementary school in the area. Because this is in the Harrisburg School District, we also have people using the roads to drive to Harrisburg High School. So again, we look at how will the traffic impacts affect current and future circulation patterns. Another concern is the proximity to residential uses. And again, how would we mitigate that? We also heard concerns about the size of the proposed development and the hours of operation. So those are the main discussion items that we expect we'll go through in a lot more detail at second reading, both from the applicant and the petitioner as well as from the neighborhood. The drainage impacts was another one that we heard from as far as the 85th Street area. And very quickly, one of the big changes was looking at moving the main access from Audie Avenue about 300 feet to the east. So there would be an offset at 85th Street with Audie going north and going south. And then also the access off Minnesota Avenue. Part of the process of going through the traffic study was to look at getting access permits done prior to the Planning Commission meeting. And based on the traffic study, city engineers have approved a access permit for the proposed Audie Avenue South access, and South Dakota DOT has approved an access permit for the proposed right-in, right-off Minnesota Avenue. So those were two key things that we thought were important to get resolved prior to going to Planning Commission. But we know that we'll go into this in a lot more detail and can at second reading, because that's where the applicant will be present, as well as we'll have the availability for public input. So that's a very quick scenario of what the issues are and what the debate will continue to be as we take this to second reading, if you
Mike?
so choose to tonight. So
Thank you, Mike. Councilor Jameson?
Mike, looking at the Planning Commission staff report, I guess it's just the same staff report. It's in our documents. We're looking at the compatible, I don't know if it's number 4, but it's compatible with minor conflict potential. There's a paragraph here. But either way, the question is, if you could go back to the zoning map, there you go. Are we still using the sub-regional employment center designation?
yes, that's in the comprehensive plan versus the zoning ordinance. Yes.
A few questions, but first, what would we do in this corner here, in this proposed area, to, in essence, intensify the use? What would we have to change to make it just full throttle, C4?
Which corner are you referring to, Councilor?
Just this whole area, this whole proposal. What would we have to do to make it more intense? What is the to allow the most intensive use?
Could you define your word intense?
C4 would be the max, right?
Yes.
So the only change would be to change that 1 acre lot back to C4. Would that make it, this property, the most intense it could be for development?
Yes.
And so what I'm trying to position and understand is where the biggest use of this land could be and where a compromised, better approach could be. And I wanted to understand exactly where the max was. And the fact that we have 1 acre, less than an acre as I understand it, as a transition into the neighborhood is not a good plan. I don't see it as a good plan myself. I know this is the first reading, but this is where it starts to get real. And I think we've got to come up with a better plan, a better transition into that neighborhood. And I'll work until the second reading to find an alternative plan. I don't know that it can happen, but I'll at least try. And then one other question is, where would be another example of another sub-regional employment center in Sioux Falls that we could better appreciate that's already developed and fully built out?
Well, the comprehensive plan was adopted in 2009, and so a number of the major commercial development areas started prior to that. But what I would like to do, since you asked, is provide the council with examples of other commercial developments where we've had commercial and residential adjacent to each other. I think that would be good to have.
Okay, just as an example, though?
Okay, I'll just say 57th and Cliff.
Okay.
Again, every site is different.
Yeah.
They're not all exactly the same because they developed at different times. But if you go on 57th Street west of Cliff Avenue, you'll see that you have a convenience store, office, and then you have residential. And then on the south side, you have the Hy-Vee store. So, I mean, there's examples like that. The East Side Shopco and Lewis Drug and Hy-Vees.
Okay, right.
And again, I understand they're all different sizes and scales of development, but the concept of how does residential and non-residential work together is really what you're getting at. How can you make those transitions work?
Exactly. Thank you.
Councilor Karski.
Kind of along the same line, Mike, I'm just curious. I see the need for the C4 for the 18 acres. Why do the 5 front lots have to be C4? Could they be C2 or C3, or would it matter?
C4 actually is the most appropriate commercial zoning because it has the most requirements. Anything over 1 acre has to go through conditional use permit.
So by making it a C4, it actually puts more stringent requirement upon the
That's what
developer.
We refer to that as the planned commercial zoning district. And also you'll hear at second reading that the proposed outlots are going to have their own covenants that would limit the uses and the building sizes.
Okay, so if we did make it a less intense, to use Councilor Jameson's, it would probably have less requirements then for conditional use, is what you're telling me.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Anderson Jr.
Mike, on the Minnesota entrance, the South Dakota DOT approved just direct access.
A right in, right out.
A few months ago, your department touted slowdown lanes. What happened with this one here? Why would this not be a good one for a slowdown lane?
This doesn't show the actual design of the roadway. The DOT is going to be reconstructing Minnesota Avenue from 85th to Harrisburg Corner in 2015. So this access will be designed to accommodate the DOT design standards, and looking at the deceleration lane is, I think, what you're talking about as a concept. And that, again, would be part of the more refined engineering plan that we would look at. This is just a zoning exhibit that you're looking at now.
Is that a design that'll go through one of the committees that council sits on, like UDC or CCOG
But not
or anything
typically,
like
no.
that?
It would just have to meet the state and city engineering requirements.
Okay, thank you.
As well as the 85th Street entrance.
Good job, Council. Would anybody want to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 2nd for this item?
So moved, Karski.
Second, Entman.
Councilor Karski has made that motion, seconded by Councilor Entman. Councilor Staggers.
Yes, I move to amend the motion changing July 2nd to July 16th, 2013 for the second reading to allow more time for members of the council and the people living in the area to consider this issue.
I'll second that.
Councilor Staggers made a motion to revise the original motion to change the date from July 2nd to July 16th, and it was seconded by Councilor Anderson Jr. Any discussion? A roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson,
Yes.
Entenmann,
Yes.
Erpenbach,
No.
Jamison,
Yes.
Karski,
No.
Staggers,
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
That is passed 5-2. We now have a amended main motion to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 16th for this item. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Aguilar, or Erpenbach?
Pick one. I just want to make clear that I've told leadership already I won't be here that night, and that's why I voted no. I want to vote on this. So that's all I'm saying. You can move it to a week after that or whatever, but it would be great to have all 8 of us here that night.
Would you want to make a motion to amend the item to July 23rd?
I'd prefer, we don't
have a meeting.
Well,
have a council meeting.
Do we have a meeting then?
9 and 16.
Our next one following that would be August 6th. We'll have 2 weeks. We have 5 Tuesdays, so there'll be 2 weeks where we do not have a meeting after the 16th.
I guess I wouldn't make that motion unless I hear a yay or nay from kind of a
Question.
up or down from folks. Yeah.
Mike, how is this going to affect anything as far as Walmart developing? Nothing, right? This is
Well,
just going to delay it a few weeks? Okay. What was the date?
Councilor Bach, are you going to make a motion to revise the amended main motion to, what was the date?
August 6th.
Yes, August 6th.
Yeah, I'll make that motion and let the group decide.
I'll second it.
There has been a motion to amend the amended main motion from July 16th to August 6th. It was made by Councilor Erpenbach, seconded by Councilor Aguilar. Before we have any discussion, I don't know if this is, could everybody check their schedules to see if they're available? Everybody have your iPhones? Check them out. I better check mine out. First time in city history we've done this.
Well, I guess I would just, in my own defense, say I miss very few meetings, and this is one that I know that I am, and it's a family commitment.
I apologize.
I apologize. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
There has been a motion to amend the amended main motion to move the second reading to August 6th for this item. If there is no further, yes, Councilor Staggers.
Yeah, I sympathize with Councilor Erpenbach, so I will be supporting this.
Thank you.
A roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson,
Yes.
Entenmann, Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Karski,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Folks, we now have an amended main motion, and now we're at August 6th for this date of hearing. If there's no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson,
Yes.
Entenmann,
Yes.
Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Karski,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Item 34.
First reading an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 1521 East 5th Street and 511 North Highland Avenue from the RD Residential District to the RA2 Residential District, petition number 2013-0509, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is an item that the council has seen before as well. On East 5th Street and Highland Avenue, it's a site that's just under a half acre. The petitioner is Affordable Housing Solutions, along with Sioux Falls Community Development. The proposal is to redevelop this site into a new apartment unit that will consist of 5 attached units for senior housing. The property directly to the east will be utilized for off-street parking. And I know we had discussions about the timeline. We are working with the petitioners, and we believe that they will be able to accommodate the timeline for the use of the funding assistance as part of this project.
Would anybody want to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, July 2nd for item 34?
So move.
Second, Erpenbach.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made that motion, seconded by Councilor Urbanbach. If there's no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson.
Yes.
Entenmann.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Item 35.
All right. 35 is a resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of members to certain citizen boards as follows. We have the Building Board of Appeals. The appointment is Allison Dvorak. For the Electrical Board of Appeals, the appointments are Daryl Bren, Mike Fisher, and Shannon Globke. For the Mechanical Board of Appeals and Examiners, we have Mark Schmidbauer, Ryan Vanderbilt, and Mark Weber. For the Planning Commission, appointees are Sean Irvin and Larry Lutke. For the Plumbing Board of Appeals, Travis Hartland and Paul Wrench. For the Property Maintenance Board of Appeals, Paul Flogstead and Wayne Kerslake. For the Public Transit Advisory Board, the appointees are Minnie Bell, Philip Jacobson, and Greg Johnson. For the Regional Emergency Medical Services Authority, Ross Wheeler. And for the Zoning Board of Adjustment, Aaron Norman.
Thank you, Lori. Good job. Would anybody in the audience want to speak to this item? Very good. Council, any? Yes, Councilor Staggers?
Yes, I'm sorry I didn't check on Mr. Wheeler. Could somebody say something about his background? Or
And who is that, please?
Ross Wheeler for the Regional Emergency Medical Services Authority. I'm sorry.
The REMSA board, do you have the documents? Anybody have the documents?
I do. Would you like me to read it?
Sure, or I can read it.
Okay, it's right here.
The question from Councilor Staggers was, could we just get a little background on Ross Wheeler, who is being recommended for the Regional Emergency Medical Services Authority, otherwise known as REMSA. Ross earned a bachelor's degree in aerospace science / airport management from the University of North Dakota. He is an intensive air dispatcher for Sanford Hospital. Previously, Ross was employed as a certified tower operator, certified air ambulance communications specialist, and private pilot. There's other details as well, but
that's
it's just a summary, Councilor.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Councilor Jameson?
The individuals going on to the Planning Commission, I think a lot of us have sat through these Planning Commission meetings, and those individuals who are going off the commission, I think somehow we should acknowledge those folks. They really do a lot of heavy lifting for us and a lot of research, and they sit through the same discussions we do, and I don't know how we could do that, but unfortunately they kind of just seem to fade away, and I think they do deserve a thank you from us somehow in some way. Maybe the mayor does that in a special way, but if he doesn't, I would certainly encourage you to do that.
Councilor Jameson, not as special as it should be. That's for dang sure. Good job, because you're exactly right. When it comes to the Planning Commission, it's a beast of an effort, and they don't get paid a dime. They do it on behalf of the city. They use their head and their heart to do the best they can, and sometimes they take some arrows from the front and some arrows from the back. These two folks that have served us well are Meredith Larson and Darla Erb. Councilor Jameson, you're spot on. Thank you for at least allowing us another maybe 20 seconds to recognize Meredith Larson and Darla Erb. That's a great point. Good job. Folks, with that in mind, any other comments? Well, very good. A roll call vote, please.
Okay, I believe we need a motion.
Oh.
First, please.
Second, Karski.
Councilor Entenmann's made that motion, seconded by Councilor Karski. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Anderson?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Thank you, Council. Item 36.
36 is a resolution designating the official newspaper for the City of Sioux Falls. And if I could just comment from here. This is required by statute each year that we designate our legal newspaper for our various publications that we do publish. And if you are interested in seeing those, they are on Fridays and Saturdays. From our meeting items are on Saturday, and our notice to bidders and those types of items are published on Friday. The Argus Leader submitted the information to us for this year, and our rate will be $5.84 per column inch or 53 cents per line. This is an increase from the past year of 4 cents per column inch, and we do receive a 10% discount on our bill due to the fact that our publications are camera ready, produced by our multimedia department. I can certainly answer questions, or we also have a gentleman in the audience that's been sitting through the meeting. Kelly Redfern is the advertising director for the Argus Leader, and I, along with Dave Bixler, met with Kelly a couple different times to talk about our publications, and he's here to answer any questions.
Yes, good evening. Is there anybody have any questions? I would also add on top of that, what we do included in that rate is we also upload all the legals onto argusleader.com. So as you know, our internet service is expanding. So we have over 500,000 unique visitors every single month, and those can be accessed by anybody in the community at no charge. So it's not part of the overall paid content, it's through the classified department. So we also include that in that.
Kelly, thank
service.
you.
Yes.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who want to speak to this item? Councilor Jameson.
Kelly, we come to you with a weak standing point in negotiating. We have to use you. But what I need to understand, just if I could, the open rate at the Argus Leader compared to the rate that we're buying, what is the difference?
Yes, the state approved rate is actually is around over. It's let's see, I got it right here. Actually, it's $6.49 an inch. So you're almost getting almost a 14% discount off of that that we offer you. And then also there's also other discounts that Lori talked about in regards that are also above and beyond what anybody else would get if they were actually to put a legal into the publication.
Okay, thank you.
Council, very good. Have we made a motion?
No.
Okay.
Move to approve the resolution.
Second.
Councilor Henneman, thank you. Councilor Anderson Jr., thanks for keeping me going here tonight. I appreciate it. Councilor Erpenbach.
I just wanted to add one question. This is one of those things that was changed in the legislature this year as well. This is the last time we have to vote on this, right? That it just is in perpetuity now until something else comes up or we decide to change it. We do not have to declare. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. And I don't see Paul shaking his head at me. I think this is the one of those that it changes on the 1st of July.
Okay.
Paul, you can say I don't know. That's okay.
If
I don't know the answer to that. I know it's in South Dakota Codified Law, Chapter 17. We can certainly look to see if that's correct. I don't know the answer right off the top of my head.
I will retract it next week if I'm wrong, but I think that this is.
Thank you.
It just kind of goes on now.
Good job, Councilor Erpenbach. Councilor Anderson Jr.
I would think it would fall under, basically under our contract, so it would be
Yes,
over
it would.
$25,000, so it would still be in the consent.
Very good. Thank you, Councilor. Good job. All right, team. Roll call vote, please.
All right, council members Anderson.
Yes.
Entenmann.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Karski. Staggers.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 7-0. Council, any new business? Could I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Councilor Karski's made that motion to adjourn tonight's meeting, and a very productive meeting it was. Councilor Henneman has seconded it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Great job, Council. Great job, Sioux Falls. Make it a great night. This meeting is adjourned.